All right, the final installment of our detail here is just to add in dimensions and annotations. So I'll start off with DI for dimension. And just going to pick up the width of this. We've got an 8-inch width for foundation wall. We've got 10 inches there for the height. We've got 1 foot 6 inches wide for the footing. Those are most of the dimensions. I should have done this initially, but let's go ahead and extend this upward so that we get the full height of our stem wall here. I'm going to click on this, edit witness line, pull that up. And I should point out that you don't need to worry if your dimensions are slightly different than mine. This project has a strange thing where I cannot make this 4 feet tall, even though that's what I want it to be. And if I do that, it'll cause an error, and I just can't get it, so I'm leaving it at 3 foot 11. And again, if your dimensions are slightly different, don't worry about it. What we're looking for is 1 foot of concrete that sticks up out of the earth, and then 3 feet down from there. And then this should be a 10-inch footing in this case. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is add in those annotations, and we're going to use our text tool to do this. And then we're going to use one of these two. You can do 2 segments, or you can do the curved lines. I find the curved lines are just a little bit easier to work with, so that's why I'm going to choose this option. And we're going to start calling things out. This piece here happens to be our mud sill. We want to use all caps for this. So let's go 2 by 6 inch mud sill. And if I'm doing this accurately, it should look like this. 2 inch by 6 inch mud sill. Okay, and better yet, I'm going to go back into this one more time. I'm going to double click on it. And I'm going to say over. Sometimes when you go back in and edit, it won't let you. So you have to escape. There, now it's working. Okay. Over sealer. It's kind of a funny little phrase that I've got going here, but sealer is just a foam that they'll put in between the concrete and the wood right here. And that prevents air from seeping in, getting into the house, which it often will right here just because that concrete's not very perfect. And so a little bit of foam goes a long way sealing up gaps. So we've got that. And then the next thing, I'm going to do another one of those. And I'm going to call out my anchor bolt. I guess the anchor bolt could be called out down here too. We want to try to line up the text over here on the left-hand side. Okay, so we're going to call this out as a 1/2 inch anchor bolt at 5 feet on center. Okay, and I'd love to group these 2 text items together, but I've got a datum that's right in the way, so that's okay. This doesn't look bad. And if I need the space, I can always pull this up and over, and I could do something like that. That's fine too, except that these do need to line up like that. Okay, and maybe I do need the space because I got to call out the rebar. And you can kind of plan and think about where are you going to do this. The left-hand side, I got plenty of space there, especially if I pull this over to the left or somewhere else. I guess I could have this over here in the dirt. It doesn't really get in the way there. As long as I can still read it, I think that's fine. That'll give me more space to put annotations over here. Okay, so next text is going to be our vertical rebar, and we'll call this out as number 4 rebar. I'll call this as vertical rebar at 24 inches on center. Great. Okay, and then the next one, we'll call this out as, try to line that up again, but you can see it's not going to work out very well. We'll call this one out as number 4 horizontal rebar, also at 24 inches on center. Okay, and the reason these aren't going to line up is because this is left justified text. So I'm going to select both of these, and I'm going to right justify them, and then I can get them to line up just perfectly. Okay, and remember that if they don't line up and you select them both, you can always use this tool right here to just automatically align them. I don't like how this is kind of running through that dimension, so I'm going to pull that down. Okay, and I should have added this earlier, but I'm going to put a little comma here and say TYP. Once again, it's just not letting me, and I don't know why it does that, but comma TYP. And to make it actually let me start typing again, I had to go into this and exit and then go back in and do it again. It's just kind of a weird glitch that Revit has. Okay, and then let's see, down here, we'll just put a little note that says alternate rebar. And once again, that's a right justified piece so that we can try to make these line up. I think I'm going to have to pull this up though, because we're going to need some space down here to call out this gravel. So let's put in another piece, and I'll put 4 inches P gravel. Now these ones, I don't think I'm going to get to line up over here on the right, so I'll just leave it like that. They kind of line up over here on the left, and that looks good enough. I guess I could try it, but if it doesn't work, then the way that I have it is fine. So if I pull that over, yeah, that's good. I should have done it that way to begin with. It's all justified and looks good now. Okay, over here we have another text note for backfill. Let's see. We're going to say backfill as needed. And I won't be able to align these, or I guess I should try once again, but the reason I'm thinking that I won't is just because I've got this this dimension running through, and it's probably better if I just leave this where it's at and I don't try to align these. Okay, and then one more down here. We'll put this one in, and I think I will be able to align this one. And I could have been doing this all along where I'd hit the right justify before I place the text. I kind of wish that I had, but I forgot to. And we're going to put this in as undisturbed soil, because underneath that footing, it's important that this dirt hasn't been dug into. That would loosen it up, and we want it nice and compact. So now we just have a couple more notes that we need to add to finish out this detail. Let's start out by calling out the type of concrete that we have. We should call this out, let's put that, change that, okay, it's already good, as 3000 PSI concrete. And maybe typical. All right, I think we just have one final annotation that we need to put on here. And I'm going to explain what it is by using this picture. After the concrete has been placed and before all the backfilling is done, the concrete wall is left exposed, and you can see here that it no longer looks like a concrete surface. It's been covered up with this black tarry substance, and this is damp proofing, and it's used to help prevent water from leaching through the concrete. And you can see that it starts down here at the top of the footing and goes all the way up the wall to about the point where the grade is going to end up, where the dirt will end up getting backfilled to. Okay, so we want to do that where in our detail we can see where the top of the ground is. Let's go ahead and draw a little line in here and then annotate it to show that we require damp proofing on this project. And it is a code requirement too. Now the problem is that if we were to draw a line, we wouldn't have the right line style. We can go to DL, detail lines, and we can use this hidden one, and that's what it typically is. It's kind of a dashed line, but you know, that's really hard to see, especially because we've got a pattern that we're trying to draw this over the top of. So what we need to do is go to Manage, Additional Settings, Line Styles, and we're going to create a brand new line style. If you look at the list here, you can see that there are already lots of them in the project, but none of them are going to quite do for us. So we'll just go down here and click New, and we'll call this Damp Proofing, and click OK. And then you can just adjust it however you want with these 3 settings. You can make it bold with a line weight projection, you can change its color, and you can give it a line pattern. So in this case, I'm going to go with about a 4, and I'm going to use some kind of a dash. Let's just try the regular dash and see how we like it. Okay, and then we'll go DL for detail line on the keyboard. We'll look for D for damp proofing. And then I'm just going to draw this right up the side of the concrete and then turn the corner so that we show that we're going to cover the top of that foundation footing. Now you'll notice that there is a bit of a gap here between the concrete and my damp proofing, and you might say, well, that doesn't make sense because this should be applied directly to the face of the concrete. And even though that is true, if I were to draw it that way, you wouldn't be able to see these lines at all. So I give a little bit of a gap, and it's just understood that this is the placement of something on that surface. Okay, let's go ahead and put in a note, and you can see that I'm kind of running out of space. So maybe I'll put this one over here, and I'm just going to put damp proofing. And okay, we're just about done. We can make a selection to all these over here on the left hand side. I need to push shift and deselect the level here because I just want these notes to be selected. And remember, we have this nifty tool where we can space these all out. So that just gives me perfect spacing when I click on that between all of these vertically. And now let's just go to check out our foundation sheet view. That's not it. And make sure that we like how this is ending up. Okay, and the only things that we might need to change, just a minute ago, this was up here too high, overlapping one of my notes, and so I had to take that view title and I had to drop it down. And you can see there's plenty of space on this sheet. I'm going to have less space when I put the dimensions all over my foundation plan here, but I've got a ton of space left over. So it looks like 1 inch equals a foot is a great scale for me to use. I've got one more detail that I'm going to add down here, and that's all that's going to need to be put on this page. So that's everything we need to do. That's a wrap. We're done.